attorneys general, the states, public interest groups like the American Civil Liberties Union are joining together as first responders to run into the burning building of our democracy and save it. They've filed already hundreds of lawsuits against the Trump administration. The vast majority of the 400 suits that we discuss every day on Legal AF filed by the attorneys general, the Democratic ones, the American Civil Liberties Union, groups like Democracy Forward. And I break it all down for you about what the status of those and how we're doing in the trenches in those courtrooms on The Intersection, a new podcast on Midas Touch Network, on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And here's a clip. The Gang of 21 is back, led by New Jersey and California, Rhode Island, and other states. They just filed a new lawsuit. I have it right here. It's up on Legal AF Substack as well, against the Trump administration trying to victimize the victims of crime again. There is the Victims of Crime Act, which was passed in a bipartisan way in 1982 by, as one of our attorney generals just joked to me, by that avowed liberal Ronald Reagan. I don't really get why we have 40 years of no problem at making sure that victims of crime are given the medical treatment, the economic remediation, the support, the mental counseling, the burial expenses paid for. You know, we live in a country where that should be a given, that we protect the victims and help them. And so there's billions of dollars that have been allocated by Congress until Donald Trump got in office and decided that anything that's administered by the Department of Justice and his crash test dummy of Attorney General Pam Bondi, the sock puppet that she is, anything there is going to be held back unless the blue states agree to drop their sanctuary city policies, sanctuary state policies on immigration and comply with his depraved and deranged and inhumane immigration policy. Well, nowhere in the 40 years or almost 50 years of this program is there any conditions that are allowed to be placed on it by the executive branch. This is funding under the spending power of Congress. This is an Article 1 power. And the only reason that Donald Trump gets away with it in the short term is that we got to file the lawsuit. Then we got to get a federal judge to agree. Then we got to get an appellate judge to agree. Then maybe the Supreme Court has to get involved. In the meantime, he's defunded, and victimized the victims. Of course, he's victimizing the victims. Many of the people that are in the victim program that are being compensated and helped are women. We have an abuser in chief. We have a person who's in the Oval Office who is adjudged to be a sex abuser. Technically, as one judge put it, technically a rapist. We had dozens of women who have come forward and said they were sexually assaulted and abused by Donald Trump. Many of them under oath in a court of law. He's a felon. He has a string of victims left behind him in the 34-count felony conviction in New York. Right? All of that. So of course his administration is using the Department of Justice as a weapon to abuse the blue states. That's his. Has anybody noticed that's his goal? His goal is to make blue states look bad, although it's having a boomerang effect. It's making him look weaker. He's the incredible shrinking president. I call him the what was the thing on Game of Thrones? The Mad King. He's the mad president, and he's going to burn it all down before it's over if we let him. That's why he's so upset, and we're so delighted by Democratic leaders, especially the governors and the attorneys general that I'm talking about here, who are fighting back against Donald Trump fire with fire. We don't have time to fight fire with water. We can't put out the flames. News cycle doesn't allow us. We got to fight fire with fire. That's why I love that Governor Newsom's office is mimicking Donald Trump and driving him crazy. You know, you had Dana Perino come out and say, "Oh, you look so unpresidential. Why are you writing in all caps?" Really? They're just doing a satire of Donald Trump. Here's the latest one that just went up, which I love. Went up this morning in California. Dana Ding Dong Perino, was all in caps, never heard of her until today, is melting down because of me, Gavin C. Newsom. You see where we're going with this? Fox hates that I'm America's most favorite governor. Ratings king. Saving America. While Trump can't even conquer the big stairs on Air Force One anymore. And, oh, you're so unpresidential. What about the guy in the Oval Office? We're just lampooning something that's very difficult to lampoon. This is why Veep on HBO went out of business, because they couldn't parody the Trump administration anymore. They couldn't parody what was really going on in that first term of his. They were like, yeah, we're done. That's the problem. And so 23 Democratic attorneys general get together on a regular basis and file lawsuits where they have to, when they need to, against the Trump administration. So this new one about the Violent Victims of Crime Act and the billions of dollars being withheld has been filed in Rhode Island. Chief Judge of Rhode Island, McConnell, who was appointed by Obama, has been randomly assigned. And they're seeking to have, under separation of powers violation, under abuse of the arbitrary and capricious abuse of the Administrative Procedures Act, they're trying to get the judge to declare and to vacate these order of Pam Bondi, which is embargoing funds until the blue states capitulate. It's just victimizing the victims. And the attorney generals are winning over 90% of the time when they file these lawsuits. That's why it's important. I just saw a stat that out of the couple of hundred of executive orders that Donald Trump has entered, only 27% are actually operative because they've been blocked, because they've been overturned. 27% is pretty good. Welcome back. I sit at the intersection of law and politics every day, every hour, so you don't have to. We have Legal AF, the YouTube channel, Legal AF, the podcast, and now my show, The Intersection. Join us there Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. on the Midas Touch Network. And then download on audio platforms. That's another way to support us and help kind of show some love to the podcast, if you will, on Apple, Spotify, and the rest. Leave a 5-star review, leave a comment. That also helps promote the show. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states, and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.